everybody. This is AFireInside ASMR. And tonight, I am going to be reading you some scary stories. It is October, and Halloween is my favorite holiday of all time. So I'm just going to be reading you some random stories that I found on the internet. If you know of any scary stories, please email me at afireinsideasmr@gmail.com, and I will read your story. So these stories that I'm going to read you right now is from HuffPost, called 12 Terrifying Ghost Stories You Shouldn't Read Alone. I haven't read these ahead of time, so I don't know what's going to happen. So let's get started. The first story is called The Cell Phone. The cell phone. A couple of months ago, my friend's cousin, a single mother, bought a new cell phone. After a long day of work, she came home, placed her phone on the counter, and went to watch TV. Her son came to her and asked her if he could play with her new phone. She told him not to call anyone or mess with the text messages, and he agreed. Around 11:20, she was drowsy, and she decided to tuck her son in and go to bed. She walked to his room and saw that he wasn't there. She ran over to her room to find him sleeping on her bed with the phone in his hand. Relieved, she picked up her phone from his hand to inspect it. Browsing through it, she noticed only minor changes, such as a new background, banner, etc. But then she opened up her saved pictures. She began deleting the pictures he had taken until only one new picture remained. When she saw it, she was in disbelief. It was her son sleeping on her bed, but the picture was taken by someone else above him, and it showed the left half of an elderly woman's face. That's pretty spooky. Spooky. Alright, let's go to the house was built in 1904. It is a single-family home, wood frame setting on a concrete block foundation. I have been living here for about 12 years. All of the weird things that my siblings and me have seen or heard in this house, this one event is my favorite. This happened to my brother about 10 years ago. My brother and his best friends had started a garage band playing mostly Spanish rock. Alternative music, but in Spanish. His friends could only get together on Sunday afternoons. They would practice into the early morning, and they would usually call it quits by 8 p.m. This was the time I usually showed up and went to bed, 'cause I worked the graveyard shift. This happened in late fall, so the days were getting shorter. They had just finished a long session when the decision to head to someone else's house came about. My brother handed his car keys to his buddy so they could load up the equipment. Everyone had filed out of the basement, but the tricky part was that they needed to walk all the way to the back of the basement, up the back stairs, through the kitchen doorway, down the hall into the living room, and out into the front porch. Everyone was outside, sitting in my brother's truck, waiting for him. My brother was walking up the back stairs when he remembered that he had left his pancakes in a to-go container sitting on a speaker in the basement. He made the decision to go back. Now the basement is not clean. With full sight lines, there had been partitions made, and the boiler and the main heating unit are right smack in the middle. So after my brother walks back, he is about to retrieve his food container when out of the corner of his eyes, he sees it. It is a shadowy figure right at his peripheral vision. This feeling of dread and uneasiness washed over my brother. He had been taught that if you are in the presence of a spirit or a ghost and you feel a bad vibe, to say a quick prayer or to cuss at it. My brother chose the latter. He basically just told it, "Hey, F you. I don't have time for this." My brother started to walk to the back of the basement and briskly up the stairs, closing doors and turning off lights as he was walking out. The last light switch is on the opposite side of the front door. Luckily, the door was open and the light from the street lamp was flooding the living room with its amber light. My brother said he felt something at his back, but at no point did he turn around. As he flicked the last switch, the living room was no reason. He climbed into the driver's seat of the truck, pulling on his seatbelt and getting ready to pull out of the parking spot directly in front of the house, when one of his friends asked, "Hey, wait, what about your brother? Isn't he coming with us?" My brother answered, "What do you mean?" "He went to work early tonight. He is already gone. Do you see his car anywhere?" The next question they asked, "So then, who was walking behind you when you were leaving the house?" Okay. That's creepy. For our third story, it is called The Rocking Horse. One night when I was maybe 10 or 12, I had trouble falling asleep. My bedroom was the entire top floor of our house, with my bed and such being on the left side, and storage closets and a play area being on the right. I was lying in bed when I heard a noise from the other side of the room, and see a rocking horse begin to rock. It was sitting just outside one of the storage closet doors. It proceeded to rock its way halfway across the room and stopped dead under the ceiling light. At this point, I was freaking out and just buried my head under my blankets and never peeked up again until morning. It was confirmed to not be a dream, as the rocking horse was still in the middle of my room when I woke up. Furthermore, I got a stern reprimand from my parents for being up out of bed, playing with my toys well past bedtime. Their bedroom was directly below the storage closet and had heard the creaking of the rocking horse shuffling across the room. Okay, everybody. I hope these stories